Imagine that you're a company looking to advertise during the American Super Bowl, one of the best commercial spots of the year. Now it costs about $4 million to have your advert shown, so you'd probably want to make the most of it. Well, in 2014, Budweiser used up 55 of their 60 seconds without showing a single bottle of beer. 55 seconds of a sweet story about a puppy's friendship with a horse, followed by an easily missable shot of what must be beer, and the branding only at the very end. So why are so many commercials like this? Surely they should focus on the product rather than some loosely related bit of entertainment. Or maybe they believe in the power of storytelling, so much so that they're willing to spend 90% of their expensive commercial slot to associate their brand with a story of friendship that harks back to the old days when things were simpler. These are ideas that we can connect with on a much deeper level than if they just made a commercial that tried to convince us that their beer tastes better than the other brands. So with that in mind, it was my turn to make something. Definitely not a Super Bowl commercial or any kind of traditional advertising, but still a project that was paid for in order to promote something. In our case, a film festival. So we've got our client and we know that they're looking to spread the word about their festival as the submission deadline is coming up. Now it's very important to know what they're looking for, what they're trying to get out of this, and then also their target audience, which in this case is filmmakers who might want to enter a short film festival. So we found out what the client wants from a marketing point of view, but thinking back to the puppy story, I decided to approach this the same way I would approach any project. Instead of asking myself, what's a good idea for a commercial, I start with, what's on your mind? So for the past few months, I've been thinking a lot about how we romanticize creative careers. Like it's just a complete dream world of creative talent and genius collaboration, and everyone's getting paid to do what they love. But for me, that good stuff is only a tiny, tiny fraction of what it's really like to spend your time writing, shooting, and editing. And so that became the concept. What if we could make something that showed what it was really like to make films or creative work, at least from my perspective and the people I've talked to. Rather than making something about the festival, let's try and make something that every single person who enters a festival will care about, making films. So we've got our main concept, but like most ideas, it starts out pretty murky and non-specific. So I usually like to start by deciding some things that I definitely don't want to do. For example, I didn't want to sugarcoat filmmaking, only showing the fun and easy parts. We've all seen those interviews where the actors are saying how much fun they've had and how talented everyone is, but the truth is, for the people who are in charge of the project at least, their pressure is very, very high. They've got a million things to think about and things just keep going wrong. The second thing is that I didn't want to imply that having better equipment and a larger crew will make everything easier. Money doesn't get rid of your problems, it just gives you different ones. So while it's true that bigger productions have more to work with, suddenly a lot more is expected of you, and the stakes are much higher. So I didn't want to present either low budget or higher budget filmmaking as being a perfect utopia. So we know what we're trying to say, and we have a couple of things to avoid, but there are still a million different ways you could make this commercial. Should we show one moment that sums up our message, or follow someone in a montage throughout their entire career? Or should we focus on multiple people or just one character? In the end, I decided to follow a bunch of different filmmakers at different points in their career, because I kind of feel like that's what creative careers are like. You know, it's not just one straight path. So I pitched that concept to the client as a truthful montage of what it's really like to be a filmmaker, and they gave the thumbs up. So I started organising some shoots, and because it's a commercial project, as usual there was a little bit of money to go into the production, and I decided that it would be most effectively used if it went to the cast, the crew, and the locations. So no money spent on equipment basically. But how do you find people and places on a very low budget? Well, I put a casting call on Star Now, which is a decent place to find actors in London at least. Then I found a website where you can find venues to hire for events and stuff. It lists all of the spaces you can book and their prices. This one worked out well for London, but there'll be an alternative for your nearest city. And so I started making a big list of all these different moments in the production process. These were based around those universal filmmaking problems: we don't have enough money and we don't have enough time. And so in the true spirit of that, I left all of the organising until 2 days before the shoot, which meant I was literally giving a bunch of actors the details the night before. And so we'll leave this for now, as I'm frantically trying to sort out logistics on the train, until next week when we talk about the shoot. And by the way, if you'd like to see the finished product, the first link in the description, but I'll see you next week for part 2.